Hey, welcome to the webinar, everybody. I'm just going to give Zoom a minute to get everybody settled. And Michael, do we call you Michael or Jovan?
Michael is wonderful. Thank you so much.
Okay, awesome. So we'll just kind of, it takes just Zoom kind of lets people come in slowly. So I always feel bad, like if we start, that someone will miss out on something. So I'm going to kind of just give it a minute for people to trail in. And let's see where people are joining us from. I am at the Jeff Hayes Film Studio, Revealed Film Studio here in Salt Lake City. Michael, where are you?
I'm in beautiful Las Vegas.
Oh, nice.
Wonderful time of year out here.
It's much warmer there than it is here.
Absolutely, for sure.
Awesome. I think I knew you were in Vegas, but I didn't quite put two and two together and remember that that's where you were. We've got someone from Idaho, Cheryl from Idaho. Another Utah. Nice to have you. We'll usually end up having a couple of people out of the US, which is kind of fun. We probably should confirm, Michael, that you can do this, what we're going to talk about tonight, from anywhere in the world, or is it US specific?
No, this is anywhere in the world. That's one of the things. That
anywhere where there's an internet.
Absolutely, right?
Oh my gosh, Winnemucca, Nevada. Winnemucca, Nevada, I can't even think about that without thinking about softball tournaments. They have a lot of them there. Florida. Hi, Steve. You got another Vegas friend. Connecticut. Beautiful Connecticut. I think it's cold there already. Steve in Florida is not cold. Anyway, it looks like everyone's on that needs to hop on. So I am excited. Oh, we have an Iowa. I am excited to welcome Michael Jovan tonight to the live. You guys that decided to spend your Tuesday night before Thanksgiving with us won't regret it. Yeah, 39 degrees and freezing. See, I knew it. So tonight we're going to talk about what you saw in your email, Pajama Profits, how to make money online. And it's something that at Revealed Films, we haven't talked about very much with our audience. You know, we've done documentaries on a variety of subjects, but we haven't really talked about this as an option for making money online. And that's why we hunted down Michael to come on and talk to you. So welcome, Michael.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Kat.
You're welcome. So this is going to be really fun because I usually know everything about what we're going to talk about. I've usually seen an interview. I've poked through it and I've done it. You were actually referred to us by a dear friend and someone that works with us here at Revealed Films. So we have you slated for future documentary series interviews, but we wanted to bring you in early, and here's why. It is the record walkout. More people quit their jobs in August than any other time in history in a month. And then it happened again in September. And with COVID hitting, people are really transitioning to working from home, people got nervous. They want an extra side income. And I think people got online and realized more than ever, you can make money online. And you do it a really interesting way, and we'll get into that. But first, I want to get to know a little bit more about you. Tell us, I know you didn't start as an online entrepreneur, so tell me where you started. Tell us about
That's your background. Right. Well, thank you first off for having me tonight, Kat. A couple of things as we kind of dive into this. 3 things that I want to be very clear of tonight is I'm going to give it 110% effort. Okay. I appreciate everybody joining us as well. There's a lot of things to cover, and I just want to make sure that this is going to be informative and we have fun. And that's always been important for me. Good. As I kind of learn this process. So to give you a little bit of background as we kind of move forward, I worked many moons ago for the 52nd largest company in the United States. And that was a company, I'm sure you've maybe heard of them, UPS. And it just dawned on me as I was in that background, it just wasn't the direction that I felt was going to be a long-term solution for my goals. That being said, I didn't like the drudgery. And what I mean by that is I just felt like there has to be a better way to generate income. So I started searching. I started doing a lot of different things online. And as you're probably familiar with so much different information out there, it can get really overwhelming. Okay. So I graduated in the late 90s. And I say that the younger folks always say, oh, you're from the 1900s, right? The challenge is nobody ever taught me in school what I need to do online. In fact, all that money I used or spent in tuition, it went towards learning Windows 98, which is obsolete today, right? And so I really got out there. I looked at a lot of different things, and really one angle online works really well for me and some of the people that I work very close with, that I'm really excited to share with you and kind of show you guys how it is that you might be able to utilize these strategies as well, and to be able to do it from home. And that's the best part about this. As you'd mentioned, Kat, we're living in such an incredible time right now. They say, you probably heard this, disaster for many is opportunity for few, right? And what we've seen in this last couple of years with the lockdowns, we see, for example, the market online is just getting bigger and bigger, right? 50 million people in South America logged on over the last year for the first time and purchased a product. So it's incredible how quickly things are evolving. And tonight I'm going to share some of the methods that I've seen with some of our experts, and how it is that we could really utilize those concepts to really generate an additional income.
So you mentioned, you were working the job for UPS, and that it wasn't really a fit for you. What was the main thing that made you say, I got to find something else? What was that pivotal question or moment or issue?
So very, very good question. I think when my son was born, it became a situation where I really just became consciously aware of the 40 by 40 by 40 plan. And if you haven't heard of that, I'm sure you have. That's where you work 40 hours a week for 40 years of your life. And if you're lucky, you're going to retire on 40% of your pay, right? And that's just not something that I didn't have enough hours in the day to do that. But at the same time, when you're stuck in that position and you don't have the proper knowledge, it's really challenging to make the transition, right? So it really, really took a lot of time for me to get with the right individuals, the right people, in order for me to really fill that void, to make the transition.
There's only really two ways you can learn things, right? Trial and error, or you find someone who's already doing it. And it sounds like you did a little bit of each and finally found someone who was willing to show you how it works and how to make it work for you.
Absolutely. Right. And so there's a lot of different strategies, and that's where some of my frustration lied in when I first got started, is knowing what exactly to do. It can't be this complex, right? And so we want to make sure that I wanted to make sure I want to get from point A to point B in the shortest amount of time as possible, right? And so I think that's the strategy that I'd like to kind of disclose, if you're open to that.
Let's do it.
Some of these insider stuff that I picked up. My goal tonight is to really save anybody out there 20 years of trial and error, right? That way, if I could do that for just one person, I think that's going to be a huge success. Okay.
Well, and I want to add too, it's 20 years of trial and error, but now things change so quickly. If you're not in a group of people who know what's happening and where to pivot and what's working now, you'll always be in that sort of catch up position. So I know, because it's not shocking for our VIP members to find out that we do a lot of stuff online. Like, they found us online, they watch our series online, we email them, right? So we know that unless we have people like you and say, okay, what's working now? This isn't working anymore. Let's try this. How do you communicate with your people? How do you get if you don't have someone a group like that, it's nearly impossible.
Exactly. And you bring up a good point there. It's so critical to just simplify things. And what I mean by that is just having a basic starting point, right? You have to just get in a position where it's something that you can understand right up front. And as you learn these things, you can kind of branch out from there, right? So I think one of the challenges that I've seen in helping thousands of people over the last 20 years and working with a lot of different groups and individuals and professionals is the mindset is just, again, if one person's telling you to do one thing and another person telling you to do another, you're constantly in this confusion. And so my goal tonight then is to really just say a starting point, what works specifically for me, how that can actually work for you or anybody else, and see if that's something that resonates with you.
So that's one of the things I love about having you on, is this is something you found, you did, you made successful, then you started sharing it, and now you've built a team of people who are all successfully doing this, that actually coach the people who want to come on board, right? So this isn't do as I say, not as I do. This is really almost like having an apprenticeship with a successful business owner.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great point that you bring up there, because it's not, again, do as I say. That's a great I guess term. What it is though is you might find, and people watching might find something that works specifically for them. And there's a lot of different ways to go about generating income. Okay. So what I found as I after got into this is really just a really simple concept is really teaming up a buyer and a seller online using credible platforms, credible companies, and taking a percentage. And in its simplest form, that's the only way that I've known, that I've seen works for me, right? And so that is the strategy that a lot of our team is utilizing right now on platforms. Like, as you know, Amazon is one of the largest, if not the largest platform, with 2.4 billion users, right? And it only makes sense if you can take a percentage off of those products that are being uploaded onto Amazon's platform. It's something that's going to provide you the ability to have that additional income, or even replace your income altogether and be able to do it from home. Again, anywhere. I have my younger clients, they're doing this all from a cell phone, right?
You're kidding.
No, and that's the beauty of it. We're just seeing this evolve, and it's just getting absolutely incredible.
Okay, so let's talk about, let's get to the basics. So for someone who's never heard of what you do, what do you call it and how does it work?
Okay, great question. So in its simplest form, a lot of different terms out there, but I always just like to keep this simple. This is something that is known as affiliate marketing, and essentially what companies are allowing right now, a lot of different companies. And let's just talk about this openly, because you brought up a good point there. We're living in an economy where these companies are closing shop. They're closing their doors. Companies like Best Buy, they went overnight, I think, from 130 their stock to 120 in less than 24 hours. These are companies that are big brick and mortar companies. They're losing business. Why is that? That's because people's buying patterns, as you know, are changing, right? People aren't going to the malls anymore. They're not going in there. What they'll do is they'll walk into a Best Buy. They'll spend 2 hours looking at the products. They'll ask the salesperson hundreds of questions. They'll walk right outside of the Best Buy. They'll go home, jump onto Amazon. And what they just spent all morning inside of Best Buy doing, they'll just order that from Amazon and have that shipped right to their house, right? So this creates a very, very big challenge for these types of companies. And so where I'm going with this, hear me out, is Best Buy does have an affiliate program. Okay. This allows anybody out there to create, copy, and paste a link to any of their thousands of products. Okay. And anytime somebody clicks on that link and purchases that product, which they're going to do anyway, you're going to get paid. And so it really simplifies the process. This way, you're not out there having to invest, in my experience, tens of thousands of dollars of inventory, hoping and praying that you're going to resell it, right? And wish for the best. So
So
that's
they stock it, they supply it, they hold the inventory, they ship it. I'm just getting someone's attention. Is that right?
exactly, absolutely correct. Yes. And the beautiful part about this method is these people are already going to purchase, whether they go through your link or somebody else's. Somebody's going to get paid somewhere. And I've always had the belief and mindset, if somebody's going to get paid, it might as well be me, or it might as well be you. Right.
Yeah.
So that's been really rewarding. And so something, let's look at this. Okay. Walmart's website, for example, has almost the same amount of third-party sellers as Amazon. And most people don't understand that. When you go to Walmart's website, the misconception is I'm buying a product from Walmart, but Walmart has a massive platform that allows people to even utilize these links onto that website. Now, certainly they're not the only ones out there. And so it just really, it makes it very simplistic for the average person with no technical skills, right? You've never gone to school, you don't know programming, you don't know coding. It really, in its simplest form, allows you to position yourself to copy and paste links online to be able to generate an income through those click-throughs.
So we have a couple of questions, and I want to go, I normally save them to the end, but I think a couple of them are good clarifying questions. This isn't selling for Best Buy. Best Buy was an example of the type of credible platforms that you recommend. Is that right?
So yeah, so Best Buy on their website has an affiliate program. Okay. I use that as an example, as does Target. Okay. Which allows any individual to post links to those products to click through, and those companies will actually provide a percentage of each transaction through that link, right? As you kind of dive in and understand these concepts more effectively, we want to make sure that you utilize platforms such as Amazon to be able to have more driven, targeted audience, right? So for example, if I'm in the business or I have links where I'm selling car parts, I probably don't want to try to sell to somebody or have a link to somebody who only rides his or her bike to work every morning, right? So that's where things really get fun and exciting, is really just putting those links into the proper targeted audience to really diversify an income stream.
Okay. So someone asked, is this an FBA? And I don't know what that is. Do you, Michael?
Okay, yeah. So this is the FBA. Good question. In fact, that's a fulfillment by Amazon, and that is a very good option for people who are wanting to sell specific products, maybe through a drop shipper or have their own product warehoused inside of Amazon's warehouse. But to answer the question, that's an actual separate vertical, which is actually very profitable. And there's some pros and cons to that are outside the scope of this series. But certainly that is one way that I've seen a lot of people generate some very good income. And our goal for what I want to kind of get out there is just to show that there are many different angles, and really what works for John down the street on his laptop may or may not work for, say, Mary, because we all have different strengths and different ideas. And some people, they do want to get out there, they want to make millions and millions of dollars. And then there's also other individuals who say, you know, gosh, if I can just get out of my job, if I just make sure my bills are all paid, that's a success story in itself for them. And so we really want to identify how we can get that starting point. And that's
okay.
the
So
key.
you're there. So here's what I'm hearing. Is this an FBA? Maybe. That you have within affiliate marketing, there's several different options, and you have it. One of the first things you do with the people that you work with is identifying a good starting point for them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
And great way. I really like your clarification on that. Yes. And so building on that, yeah, some people, that's the direction that they want to move, and they maybe they've researched a little bit about that, and they're advanced in that structure, and they just need more help to actually get across the finish line. Alternatively, some of our clients and some of our success stories, they're just wanting to be in a position, hey, how do I get from point A to point B, and I want to do it as quickly as and painlessly as possible. But the key point there absolutely is just making that first step in identifying what's going to work and resonate for you.
Okay. So a question is, with supply chain issues being what they are you seeing that being a problem for affiliates?
So that great question there. And so supply, as you know, this economy is a wild, wild economy right now. So many different ways to look at that. There are breakdowns right now in the shipping modules worldwide. This is one of the reasons why I truly, truly enjoy the affiliate link aspect to online income. And that, simply put, is because if one doesn't work, get rid of it. You're not married to one. You could have literally thousands and thousands and thousands of different links. So it only takes one time somebody to click through your link and they don't get their product shipped, right? Before you don't waste any more time on that. You move on to what does work, right? And
Okay. So is this drop shipping? Is drop shipping a part of this, or are we always linking to other people who are taking care of that?
So drop shipping is not a part of the affiliate marketing concept.
Okay.
Okay. That is something in a whole other scope in itself, which is a valid and great option. If you're looking, for example, to have an online store through Amazon, that might be something to explore. With this specific concept that I've utilized, our experts utilize, and our company Mint Group utilizes, it just really, again, teaming up buyers and sellers. And if that seller happens to be a big brick and mortar store, so be it. It might be somebody, it might just be a person making belts in his basement. And so regardless, that's the fun about this. Is I'm a big believer in whatever you do, just make sure you're having fun at doing it.
That makes sense. So what's cool about this is I'm not worried about drop shipping from China and stuff getting in. This is, I can check and link to Best Buy who has stuff in inventory, Walmart who has stuff in inventory, Amazon always shows how much is in inventory, right?
Right.
So I know the customer is going to get their stuff. So do you do just products, or do you also do services?
So what's been very profitable for my scope, and I don't try to, one thing that we know in any online business or marketing, you can't be everything to everybody, right? So no, I don't do services. I know there's plenty of different affiliates online that do allow services. Say, for example, maybe you had somebody with a professional background and you give them a referral, they're going to give you a percentage, right? Certainly that happens in real estate sometimes, and there's just a whole other things. But for what I've seen successful, it's just really getting those products in high demand. Generally electronics are always, we have a huge shortage in chips, as you know, and they're always moving off the shelves. So again, I'm the guy that says, what do I need to do to get the product in the highest demand, and how can I get the product in the highest demand with the most amount of money? If I can figure those two things out, then we can make some serious money.
Okay. And so I'd imagine that's what you teach your students how to do, and that's what your coaches focus on.
Absolutely. Yes. We're going to get them in a position where we got products that's going to resonate with them, that they can get excited about, that there's a markup on, that they're in high demand, and they can utilize those links to really copy and paste those to their, however, I guess, aggressive they want to be in order to get them to their goals.
So how do you find, do you have software that your members access? Do you have a research team and the coaches are passing all this data along? How do you take your group, your coaches and your students and your group, and notify them of what's going on and what they should be paying attention to?
Absolutely. So one of the things that we've really done over the years is really fine tune this. And in 20 years of being online, we really see that, as you say, the dynamics are evolving, and we've evolved with that process. So with that, certainly there are different softwares that help identify products in high demand. That'll scour the internet through thousands and thousands of listings that come back and tell you what's hot and what's not. And certainly we explore all of those options. Our experts, they've done this for a number of years. And so when we actually work with our clients, we put them in touch with our experts who actually walk them literally through the process, step by step, really helping them to understand those logistics and utilizing that in combination with the softwares available to really help identify which links, which products are going to be the best financial results for our clients.
So I have a couple of curiosity questions, Michael. First is, what made you go from just doing this yourself to teaching it to other people and creating a group of coaches so you had a community?
Well, so that just happened by demand. Let me explain. Before I did this, let's back up here. One thing I should probably say, yeah, I was a power seller on eBay for a number of years.
Okay.
And I think that's important to understand, because I didn't like boxing up products, standing in line, and I was doing it the traditional way. I wasn't working with a drop shipper. I wasn't smart enough to do all those things back then. We're talking 20 years ago. Okay. So when I started learning what's working online, the people who are doing this with me, we became very good. We became very good, solid relationships and business relationships. And when I say by demand, it's because more and more people were coming to us, asking us, well, what can I do? What can I do to be a part of it? And as we built this out, really, we just got in a position where there's enough money out there online for all of us. And so really, it doesn't hurt me one bit if every single one of us is doing this, right? So there's plenty of room to expand and to put us all in a position where we could work together as a team. And really, one thing that I've always learned is the minute you stop learning, unfortunately, that's probably the minute you die, right? So by having this network of experts and this team that we've actually put together and our coaches, we've learned a lot from each other. And by all means, it seems that there's not one person that can do all of this. It took a lot of people, one person teaching me one aspect, another teaching me another. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So who are the most likely? So you have people coming to you, right? And you bring on students. I know you can only handle a certain number at a time, which is why we're talking tonight. And you always want to make sure it's a good fit. But what commonalities are you finding in the people that are coming in that you work with? Who is that person? What's the most likely candidate?
Absolutely. So our biggest success stories that we've seen, and this is always seems to be the underlying, I guess, motivation, is always somebody who's in a position where they're just sick and tired of the rat race. They understand that what they're doing right now is not working, and they need to make a change. Once they've identified that, I mean, before you can solve 80 problem, let's face it, you have to identify the problem. And if your problem is your job or your work that's taken away from your family and your spare time, that's either going to hold you back and bring you down, or it's going to be the number one motivating factor to really get out there and change your life. And so to answer your questions, so we've worked with people of all ages, and the one commonality is we all at some point told ourselves we're not willing to settle for an average job, because let's face it, your employer, your boss is not going to pay you more than he or she pays herself, right?
Yep.
And that's the simple truth. And if they can replace you for somebody a lot younger who's going to do it for pennies on the dollar, you're gone. And that's a hard truth. People always have this fallacy of I have job security, or if I put in my 20 years, I can retire. But we see every day more and more companies are going overseas, they're going bankrupt, they're closing their doors. And so to answer your question, those are the most successful clients that I've been able to work with, really to take them from the employee to entrepreneurial mindset.
Ah, that's interesting. So you say that like you know what it means. So what is the difference between an employee and an entrepreneurial mindset?
Well, knowledge. One word is knowledge. Some people are okay with being an employee. They're going to go in, they're going to do their hours, they're 40 hours a week. If they're feeling risque, they might put in some overtime, and they're comfortable with that. That's not the person that we're looking for. Okay. To really make that transition, you have to have desire. You have to want something better for yourself, for your family, for your kids. And most importantly, once you have that desire, you have to have, in any business, some specialized type of knowledge. You have to know what you're doing. And so if you have the desire, the motivation, and you can work with the right people who know how to do this, it really sets you up for a significant amount of success.
Okay. So who has thought it would be a good idea, but it didn't work out very well for?
Okay. The number one thing I think people in starting a new venture, especially online, is to set up realistic goals. Because there are a lot of promises out there. And yeah, there are multi-millionaires. The internet has created more millionaires in the last 10 years than any other business venture out there. We know in the next 5 to 10 years, if you look at all the numbers, is it going to get smaller or is it going to get bigger? We know it's going to get bigger, right? The challenge is we have to set up baby goals. And so what's the biggest challenge is people often think, well, I'm just going to dive right into this and I'm going to make X amount of dollars in my first 30 days. Well, that may or may not happen. And when it doesn't happen, or if it doesn't happen, you got to have the fortitude to be able to push through it and to make those adjustments, to make the changes needed in order to get to your goal. So that's going to be a little bit of a struggle for a lot of people. Unfortunately, I just think it's human nature that we want overnight results, and that doesn't happen, which is why one of the things that we look to do with the people we work with and really help is really building that long-term, mutually beneficial relationship, because I understand it doesn't happen by itself. And so that's very important for me. And this is why we're very, very selective with who it is that we choose to really focus on and spend our time with in helping them to their goals.
Okay. So you talk about realistic goals. So, and I know we can't make any promises of income, but let's say very, very, very realistically, very almost like overly realistic. Someone's doing everything they're supposed to. How long does it take before some success, some income starts coming in?
Well, that's a great question. So once we get our clients set up correctly, okay, it's a couple of week turnaround time. All right. Okay. So we have clients that right out the gates, they're in a positive cash flow. So one of the things that we focus on is really showing you step by step how to make sure that the income exceeds any expenses. And that's just with any business. And so why I say that, and to add to your point, is if you only made, let's say $100, okay, but if that $100 is more than what it cost you to get in business every month, your business is in a positive cash flow and it's paying for itself, right? So Realistically, to answer your question, we have clients right out the gates generating income. We work with slow learners too. There are people I literally have to teach them what a mouse is. I think we all in the last year or two just learned about Zoom. So again, it's constantly evolving, but this is what's most important is I don't care how fast or slow somebody learns. If they're truly serious about making changes in their goals and they want to learn how to utilize these concepts online, just with the affiliate links, there certainly is a lot of things that they can do.
So if I want to do this full time, and let's say I'm deadly serious, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes, how long does it take to get to a 6-figure income?
I would say realistically, you could do that with inside of a year.
So the reason I asked that is, do you know how many opportunities there are to work at full time and get to a 6-figure income within 5 years?
Well, I would hope there's quite a bit. I'm not sure how many there necessarily is, but here's one of the advantages that we have online, right? Is it's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So it puts the average person in a position that once things are set up, whether they're asleep, they're on vacation, they're at their job or their second job, those links are continually generating an income, right? So it's also a process of leveraging your time efforts.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. So, and I'd imagine not everybody wants to do it full time or is like, I want to make big income. I'm sure there's people that are like, I can give you 10 hours a week. And if I can make an extra $2,000 a month, I am happy as can be.
Sure. Yeah, there are a lot of people like that. But I tell you this, once people realize the potential financially and they see a little bit about it, it doesn't make sense anymore to go to that job for 40 hours a week. So you get to that point in answer your previous question, what happens, what has to happen in order to become an employee to an entrepreneur? Well, you have to see results, right? That's the biggest motivator.
Yep. It is. And as soon as you see, okay, this is where the benefit is, this is working. Oh my gosh, this is working. I'm working, right? It's like, oh my gosh, this is great. And then you can put more time and effort into it. So I'd imagine, I don't know anything about what you do. So I'd imagine if we got started, you're going to have to start with me at the very beginning. How many people have you walked through the process from I know nothing, A to Z?
So I'm really happy to say this. So for this calendar year, which we're getting ready to close out, we've worked with over 200 clients with the Mint Group, with my staff. Again, we only have 7 experts. These are serious experts generating some very, very good income online through this specific strategy. And I think that's quite a bit of people to really help them to their financial goals and to really get them in a position where, you know, we live in the greatest country in the world with so much opportunity. And it just, again, doesn't make sense for the people who are miserable. And I say miserable, that's kind of a harsh statement, but if you're waking up and you're going to work and dreading it, you're stuck in traffic and you're just doing all that just to pay your bills. And we've helped over 200 people this year alone. Tremendous amounts of success stories on our websites. It's just been it's very rewarding for me to be able to give that back to the people that we've been able to work with.
That's amazing. I really love that. And again, more and more people are looking for, isn't it interesting that we're kind of at a time in history where stability means I got to figure it out on my own. Stability doesn't mean, like we used to think having a job was stability, right? And now I want stability. That means I got to figure it out on my own, that I can control it.
Right. And yeah, and you bring up a very, very good point there, Kat, because I understand this. There's talks about I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. Okay. It's a scary time. If all you're depending on right now is a traditional job, your employer, it's a scary time. And I'll say this because my parents didn't have money. I didn't come from a financially successful background. Okay. So the challenges now, these are people, and I say my own family, my mom and dad, who really depended on the system for Social Security to be their retirement. But all we're seeing now is there's talks about Social Security being bankrupt by 2036. So that's not something that I feel confident in really spending my time. I'm certainly not going to tell my son to go out there and spend his time chasing that dangling carrot. So that's a big challenge. It is a scary time, and you do absolutely have to make changes. Yeah, and it's scary. It is scary because we're taught go to work, go home, go work, home, work, home, work, home, which is a rut, literally known as your grave, which is why the number one killer in America is heart attacks. And they generally happen on Mondays.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I don't mean to laugh, and I'm sorry. No, but yes, that is absolutely true. The number one reason the death is heart attacks is because it's directly linked to stress. How many people
Wow.
do you know stressed out about their job?
Yeah, I remember back when, I had a friend that said, I know I need a different job. And I said, how come? And he said, because every Monday morning or Sunday night when I go to bed, I have a pit in my stomach.
Yeah.
And I wish that wasn't uncommon. I wish it weren't, but I think there's a lot of opportunities. So there's a couple of problems, and maybe you can help us through these. There's a lot of opportunities out there if you're looking, but it's very difficult to know what's going to work for you and what's not. So what makes you different from another online course I could get?
Great question. So there are a lot of different programs out there, and I'm very, very well aware of all the different things, because I understand when I was just searching myself, I bought into everything out there. And you got to be very, very careful, because there's a lot of information out there that is in a lot of ways just convoluted or downright misleading. So you got to be very careful. So to answer your question, what it is that makes our company, Mint Group, that in my opinion, the top of the line, is because we have done this for 20 years. I've done this for 20 years, right? So if to put that in perspective, when we started out in 2002, Facebook didn't come around till 2004. So we had to change our entire, the first 2 years, if it's not already frustrating enough, we changed it 2 years into it. And so to answer your question, we've consistently evolved. And now we've got to a point where there are market indicators that will do a lot of the research for us, do a lot of research for you, and be able to just shave off that learning curve. And that's something that I haven't seen that is offered anywhere else online right now.
Yeah, I like it. I bet I've spent $50,000 on courses that are on my computer or that I have that login and password to.
Sure.
that I'm like, ooh, that's awesome. And then I don't do it. And what I have found, and when I talked earlier about this is like apprenticing with a master, what I have found is anytime I've done anything of value, it's someone who already knows what they're doing and literally shows me how and holds me accountable. And then I learn it too. Right. So to me, it's different. And I know not everyone's like that. My husband, if he buys an online course, he goes through the whole thing, but I think that's the minority.
Sure. And look, you bring up a good point there. There's so many different things out there. Like, look, when you go to, like, for example, a seminar, okay, you got one person saying the same exact information to thousands of people. And this is why I really wanted to spend the time tonight just to say, we're going to come up with a starting point that works specifically for each individual. Okay. Everybody's a little bit different. Okay. If seminars are great, there's a lot of value. Okay. The challenge is it's a blast of information real quick. You leave the seminar, you forgot it all. Right. And so to add to what you're saying, absolutely. The most successful individuals will get an expert and work with them months and months and months at a time as an apprentice. And so that's ultimately what it is that we're looking to accomplish as well.
Okay, so um, I had a really good question and I lost it. Give me just a second. So, this is what I was gonna say. So most people have heard of this company called Racketon.
Okay.
And have you heard of Racketon?
That's new on the market.
Yeah, so that's what they do. If you shop through them, they link all of Macy's and Best Buy and right. And they take
Right.
their commission from those and then they just give you a small percentage of it.
Right.
So if this big company can make this work, right, their link to where I was going to shop anyway, and then pay me, then that shows me there's plenty of money there for us to play in that playground.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this is just really something that's going to be common knowledge as people become more comfortable with the internet. And you're absolutely right. Yeah. And that's not the only player out there. And so there are so many different platforms, but realistically, when we talk about getting into higher income figures, is really just having exactly what I've done is just gone direct, because those third-party companies are great. But again, if I can work directly with a big brick and mortar company that's going to pay me 8%, whereas I can go to one of these platforms like you just mentioned, and they're going to give me 3%. Well, I like the 8% a lot better than 3%, right? And so there's a lot of different ways to do it. And that's one of the things that the experts actually get into, is really identifying which links, which platforms are going to be the most profitable. This way you're not out there spinning your wheels.
Well, it's if I want gold and there's someone that's willing to show me where's the most profitable place to dig, that information is really valuable.
Absolutely.
So if I want to make money online and you have the map to show me exactly where to go to maximize my time, my effort, and my money, to me, it's the same thing. It's just very valuable information. So we do with Revealed Films, we have affiliates. We have partners that even some of you that are on this call, you probably heard about us from someone else, right? They're like, hey, you should go see this. This is really cool. So we do affiliate marketing, but it's not like the affiliate marketing you do. So I've been really, really excited to learn about it, because I know there are people doing this and it's like a mystery to me. So I'm excited to kind of continue this relationship and see some of our members have success and reach some of their financial goals. Is this heavily reliant on Facebook?
No, that's that's one of the things I enjoy most about this is I'm not much of a Facebook user. That's just been in the recent years that we've kind of steered away. But no, this is going to be able to work on any platform. Some of my clients, all they do is Facebook all day. It works fine. They're on social media platforms, but this is something realistically where you're able to utilize with the bigger platforms to drive that traffic.
Okay, that's really cool. So, and I would imagine you've walked people through probably any barrier or issue they might have to get them through it and on to success, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. All backgrounds, all walks of life. And it seems as though the commonality is once you understand this, you get past all the filler stuff, the technical stuff. It really is a plug and play type of way to generate an income online.
That's so cool. All right. Well, so let's say I think this sounds interesting. I think it might be a good answer for me. I might be a good fit. What's the next step?
So what we do then, if this is something that you really conceive the potential in, and you have that motivation, the next step is to go to the link that we've provided that's going to allow you to fill out your information. And what we're going to do is we're going to come up with a game plan or roadmap really to identify your goals, what it is you're looking to accomplish. And we're going to structure something, put you in place with the experts where we get you from point A to point B. And that's the exciting part, is really helping our clients to identify their situation and having that, again, that starting point. Because once you have the starting point and the basics, and you have an income stream that you're not so dependent upon your job, then really it opens up so many doors to be able to diversify and go out there and to really generate generational wealth.
Yeah, so I want to clarify, the link that we put on here for you is an application. It's just a fact-finding app. There's no place to pay any money.
Yeah, absolutely not. No.
I'm old enough that I used to say you can put your checkbook away, but nobody even has those anymore.
Right.
You can put your credit card or like your phone away. The most important thing right now is finding out if there's even a fit and how you might work together. Because I know there's several different things that you do, and it's going to vary by person, desire, situation, time. And that's actually one of the things that most impressed me, is that this isn't like, hey, Kat, get me in front of as many people as possible. I want to get,
Right.
X amount of dollars from each person. You were very much like, yeah, I want to make sure we get the right people.
Right. Yeah, there's just not enough. Yeah, there's just not enough time in the day for something like that. And so, yeah, absolutely. What we do is this: if this is the direction, ultimately somebody out there is saying to themselves, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Yeah, the next step would be to go out there, click on the link, fill out that information. And what will happen is I'm going to have myself or one of my trusted experts really reach out to them and just kind of really go through a strategy session one-on-one, in really determining if this is something that's going to be beneficial. And if it is, we'll move forward and really get the ball rolling. And if not, we'll just part ways as friends.
Yeah, I used to have a philosophy that everything in life is like a hard decision, right? And that philosophy didn't work really well for me. And one day, working with one of my coaches, I learned and implemented that everything is an easy yes or an easy no. Everything. And that was transformative for me, because if you pay attention to what you feel like you really should do, and you should do it, even if you're scared, that's still an easy yes. And if you shouldn't, and it's not a good fit, that's an easy no. And that one flip for me really made a huge change in my life, that I wasn't like angsting over decisions anymore. The other thing that really was huge for me, Michael, and I learned this in Las Vegas.
Uh-oh.
I know. There's a guy there named Marshall Silver, and he used to be a stage hypnotist in Vegas. Get someone on the stage to dance like a Chippendale dancer or sing like Madonna.
Right.
And it occurred to him one day, what if I could take this same process and actually help people change for the better instead of just for entertainment? I could help them quit smoking. I could help them break through an income barrier. I could help them have a better life, right? And that was so intriguing to me, that he had this moment of clarity, like, wait, if this works for that, this will work for the things that really matter. And so he does kind of the same thing he used to do, but to help people get where they want to go. And I was in Vegas at one of his events, and he said, the biggest difference between millionaires and not millionaires is people who want more money are always asking how much something costs. And millionaires and billionaires are always asking, how much do I earn? What do I make on this? And those two things that I've learned really changed my outlook on life. They took away some of my fear. They help me evaluate things in a way I think people that were wiser than me at the time thought than me, and they were willing to teach me so that, I could implement some of those things.
Wow. Yeah, there's a lot of truth in that. And that is absolutely 100% the way I understand it as well. The only people who are saying you can't generate income, they're broke, right? And so the wealthy people definitely have a different mindset than the people who unfortunately are just kind of drudging through life.
Yeah.
And
It's like, what's my return on this? And that's the thing. I always feel like if something is $1 million, now let's use something realistic. If something costs me $10,000 and I know for a fact I get 20,000 back, how often am I going to do that? But if something costs me $5 and I get nothing out of it, then $5 is too much, right?
right.
And that was what I realized at that seminar, listening to Marshall Silver. And I know we're at the top of the hour and we have to wrap up. If someone has a last minute question, pop it in because I'm going to wrap up. But I really want to thank, first of all, Michael, thank you for your time and away from your clients and your team and your money-making stuff to share with us and give us the opportunity to apply to see if we're a good fit for you, because the only thing we have in this world that is not replaceable is time. Money always replenishes. I don't know if you've noticed this, but it's always going out and it's always coming in. Things come and go, things break, and we replace them, or we lose things and we replace them. But I have realized that time doesn't replenish. When it's gone, when you've spent it, it's gone. And so I've really always honored our guests for their time, because it's a huge investment in us. And so really, thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you guys. And thank everybody out there. And Kat, thank you for your time. I know that's very, very important that we do have.
So for those of you who feel like this might be a good fit, go to the link. And yes, specific questions you have for you that might be more appropriate one-on-one. Yes, they will answer everything you want to know one-on-one. Absolutely. This was just a chance to give you an introduction and have you think, is this something that might be right for me or not? So thanks for being with us. Thank you, Michael. Take care and happy Thanksgiving. Have a really great time. Take care. Bye-bye.